We'll do the intro real quick.
It's parallelizable.
Are you then a person that creates, or are you more of an orchestrator?
Probably spend too much time writing code.
It's going to be a trade-off, right? What do you do? What do you enjoy? What does the company need?
Basically, I'm really bad at doing stuff that I don't like doing.
Should I say welcome back?
Development environment issues.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. We're here at React Summit Amsterdam 2025. I'm joined by Jarred Sumner, and we'll get right into it. How are you liking the conference so far?
It's great. Yeah. Really fun talking to people and walking around.
Mm-hmm. Have you been to either React Summit or JSNation before?
No.
No?
Not in person. I did speak at, I think, like remotely a couple years back.
Nice. Are there a lot of people that you recognize? Because I feel like I've talked to a few people, but it's definitely like a small group of people that goes from conference to conference.
Yeah. No, I recognize a handful of people.
Yeah, and you gave your first talk as well. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, my first in-person talk.
Good stuff. Yeah. Are you staying long in Amsterdam?
No, I'm going to head back tomorrow.
Man, you're really in and out. When did you arrive?
2 days ago.
2 days ago. Yeah, wow. Any other conferences planned?
Not currently.
Not currently?
There's one, actually, no, that's not true. There's a conference in October, I think.
US?
Yeah, in the US.
What do you do outside of coding and the work that you do nowadays? Any hobbies?
Honestly, I spend pretty much all my time working on Bun.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go for a run, but I'm not like great at it. Yeah, I mostly just work on Bun.
Gotcha. Yeah. Is it work or is it more fun and play for you as well? Is it
It's really both.
Yeah. That's the best though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
So is it hard to take you off the keyboard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really bad at doing stuff that I don't like doing.
Yeah.
And I really like working on Bun.
Then that's perfect though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when COVID hit and I really enjoyed at least what I was doing at the time at a company and a project, it was really hard to stop. Do you have the same? Like
Yeah.
someone has to take you away from the...
Yeah, basically, but mostly I just don't stop.
Do you feel like that's going to be sustainable for the long run?
Yeah. People have been telling me that it's not for years now.
And you've been showing them wrong?
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, cool, man. Why did you start Bun in the first place? Let's start with that.
I was working on this game in the browser and the build time got really slow. I was like, okay, well, what if I tried a bunch of stuff to fix it. It was like a Next.js app. I had this weird prototype of Go of using ES build with Next. And it did make it faster, but I was like, okay, that's interesting. And I realized that I really liked working on the build tooling more than I liked working on a game.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, well, what if I rewrite ES build in Zig? So then I ported the transpiler and then I got it to work in about 3 weeks or sort of work. And it was, I think at the time, just within that 3 weeks was 3 times faster than ES build at transpiling the same JSX files. And then I just kept working on Bun. The initial version of Bun was basically me working for a year in my in my room, barely leaving, right around the COVID time. And then we did the private beta where you had to go to our Discord server and type "I want Bun" in order to get an invite link.
Yeah.
And more than 1,000 people did that. I think in the first week of the public beta, we got the GitHub star chart was a straight line vertical.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And it was we got I think 10,000 or 20,000 stars in that, just really quickly.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And just over time, we raised a little bit of money and more people are using Bun.
What makes you so excited about building this? Even at the start, is it the speed and performance? Is it the wins that you see? Is it because it's for developers?
I'd been really frustrated for years how slow everything in JavaScript is.
Yeah.
And because why our computers are really fast now. So why doesn't our software feel fast too? The answer to that for the JavaScript ecosystem is a mixture of a lot of overlapping tools that duplicate work. And then that also accrues paper cuts, a lot of small things that don't really work super well, or you have to add all these workarounds, why can't you use import and require in the same file? Why does JSX need a build step? There's a lot of things that are just more complicated than they need to be. And I spent a bunch of time as a front-end engineer before working on Bun, before learning a bunch of systems engineering stuff. I think back on that time a lot and use that as product prioritization, or to inform my thinking.
Yeah. I mean, I think the products that people build where they themselves are a user or they're building it for a past version of themselves, that is incredibly powerful. because you have such a good reference of what pain really means, like on a day-to-day basis. So I get that you get enjoyment out of kind of solving that. But it's completely different from building a game, for example. Like
Yeah.
game has all the visual components, front-end development, same thing.
I think I just shouldn't have actually worked on a game that was really stupid.
Okay, why is that?
I didn't actually like working on the game.
Yeah.
Or I didn't like building the gameplay parts of the game.
Yeah.
I liked working on all the tooling.
Gotcha.
So I spent more time on the tooling than the actual game, and then I was like, well, I'm spending all my time on the tooling. So
it's kind of a natural fit to do that.
yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. So Bun, I think, was stable production release 2023, out of beta completely.
Yeah, we did a 1.0 release a little over a year ago.
Yeah, how has adoption been since?
It's been going really well.
Yeah.
An example, a recent company that started using Bun was Anthropic for a lot of the Cloud Code.
That's a good one.
Yeah, they're great. I use Cloud Code a lot.
Yeah.
So it's like fun to like, they're using something that I'm using.
You can be proud of that
Yeah.
for sure. That's awesome. Yeah. And then since kind of Cloud Code adopted it, there are other competitors out there, right? Because I've talked to, I think he's here, Leo Ketmeyer from Dino. Dino has been there as well now. People are betting on different things. Why would they bet on Bun in the first place? Or what would you say for that?
Generally, we make Bun, we intend for Bun to be a drop-in replacement to the existing Node.js ecosystem.
Yeah.
Most of our engineering time is not actually spent on new features. It's spent on Node.js compatibility, on getting Node's test suite to pass in Bun. Today, we've run a little over 2,000 tests from the Node.js test suite on every single commit. A lot of the built-in modules in Node have a greater than 90% test passing percentage. For Bun, you generally don't need to make that many changes to your existing workflow to use it. Like if you're using tsconfig.json, that works in Bun without changes. We support paths for module resolution. Generally, we try to make the integration as easy as possible. And we also care really deeply about performance. And we also have a bundler, and the bundler is a really nice thing because it means you can use you can do like full stack React applications without the extra build step by just running the code.
Yeah.
So it makes a lot of stuff simpler.
So you want it to be a drop-in replacement for Node, is what you mentioned, right? Do you think that's achieved already, or is that still a work in progress to a certain degree?
A lot of frameworks and a lot of the most common things people use day to day just works today.
Yeah.
But the tricky part is the edge cases. It's like in the really large production apps where like they have like 10 years of like technical debt. That's where it gets tricky for us right now.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're working so hard to get the Node test suite to pass, because we think that that's the best way to make sure that all of that stuff works, whether it's the really new stuff or the stuff that has a lot of technical debt.
Gotcha. If I were to have an existing code base that doesn't use Bun, how easy would it be for me to migrate, or why would I migrate in the first place?
Generally, you'll be able to delete a lot of dependencies.
Yeah.
But you can really easily try by doing bun -- bun and then run one of the files or package.json scripts. And then you don't need to make any other real changes. Another thing that's really common that people do is they use bun install, which is the npm package manager we have built in.
Yeah.
If you're currently using npm, then you can do package, or we support package.lock.json migrations. So that means you can use bun install with your existing setup without making any changes, and you'll immediately see a performance improvement. We've heard from many people that bun install is faster in GitHub Actions than without the GitHub cache. Like the GitHub cache for
Makes
GitHub
it
Actions,
slower.
Yeah, it makes it slower.
That's hilarious.
The most immediate benefit that people get with like lowest risk tends to be bun install, and then later on they try the runtime as well. If you're currently using Webpack or ESBuild, you'll generally also see a performance improvement by switching to bun build. But the setup is a little bit more complicated because bundlers are complicated.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think I took tooling and like speed and like this feeling of efficiency really for granted until I started using Go, where everything is just super quick.
Yeah,
and
Go
I
is
feel
great.
like Go is amazing for that. And I feel like you're trying to get the same results with Bun as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially like from the perspective of how does the JavaScript ecosystem work today, where like not everything in Go totally fits.
Yeah.
But like, for example, for the backend side, we have bun build -- compile, which gives you a standalone executable that you can just run with all the dependencies pre-bundled. It also makes the startup time faster because it doesn't have to make a bunch of I/O for to read all the files.
Yeah.
You can also embed bytecode into the build, so that way it doesn't have to pay the cost of parsing your JavaScript on the server every single time. And you can also embed files, and it even works with native add-ons.
Is that all inspired by Go? Because Go has basically all of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah. But it's a little different too because it's bundling all the dependencies.
Yeah.
So then it's like running the bundler so it's not a direct copy. It's like, here's what it would look like if it was meant for JavaScript from the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, you have a few options with regards to what you work on. You already mentioned you want to cover this width. You're at 90% kind of node test coverage, and you want to reach more, so it's easier to achieve that goal of.
We're not yet at 90%.
Okay.
But we're
close.
We're getting there.
Yeah, but it's going to achieve what you aim to do, right? Make it an easy drop-in replacement, kind of out of the box, and even in larger code bases.
Yeah. The real challenge there today is the larger code bases. Most of what we're working on really is getting that number to go up, the node test percentage.
So it's no additional features, no functionality. It's making it.
We are still working on new features, but like the percentage of time is like 95%.
Yeah.
On like, okay, let's get node test suite to pass. Honestly, to some extent, it's actually we're spending maybe a little bit too much time on it because it means that like the number of issues goes up because the node tests that we're trying to fix don't always include GitHub issues.
Yeah.
Often they actually do overlap, like because they're real problems that our users are running into. But it's a tricky balance because we see the end is near for getting us to like to the point where node compatibility is no longer an issue.
Yeah.
And so we really just want to get it done.
Do you aim to reach 100%? Because I also wonder if there's this trade-off of, let's say the first arbitrary 80-90% is like X amount of work. The last 10% might be the same or even more.
My guess is that like we are going to call some percentage where we're comfortable with it, but we're not there yet.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And it'll probably be pretty obvious because we'll stop getting GitHub issues about it.
Exactly. Things will just be smooth.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. But I love that you have this kind of goal set, that it's very specific, it's very concrete, something you can tangibly work towards. And it must be very motivating for the people that do so.
Yeah. We at the office on the TVs, we have here's the current percentage.
I knew it. That's
like,
genius.
And like we just need to make that number go up.
Yeah. That's it. It's simple as that. You mentioned you started this by yourself, I think for a long, long time. Who hopped on board and what does it look like now?
Yeah, so we've raised a couple of years back, we raised a seed round. Today we're 14 people, full-time, all based in San Francisco.
All working on it.
Yeah.
Are you the person that like orchestrates things of vision and does? You're still very hands-on though.
Yeah, no, I'm the CEO, and also I still write a lot of code.
Yeah.
Honestly, I probably spend too much time writing code, but it's really hard for me to not spend time writing code because I really like writing code.
I mean, with 14 people, you can afford to write some code.
Yeah.
That's good. That's probably healthy. But do you think at some point that will shift, right? That's what you see in startups that go into scale-ups that grow to, let's say, a size of 100. The role of a CEO will change.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be hard letting kind of go of the coding part.
Yeah, totally.
Will that be you think, that drives that forward, or will you stick to more of the coding-oriented roles?
I really like writing code, but I've also always wanted to do a startup and like be CEO. And so like probably I'll end up being more of a CEO. But today I'm very much an engineer.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, it's going to be a trade-off, right? What do you do? What do you enjoy? What does the company need? And if that's you, that's you. If you want it, you can do it because it is you. And then let's see how it goes. But that's going to be quite far, right? Do you think, how long will it be for you to get to that stage where you actually start scaling with regards to engineering capabilities and growing faster?
I don't know. The first step for us is we need to get node compatibility to be solved. After we do that, then we'll see. Yeah.
There's no roadmap for after that with regards to like big features that you're holding off of?
We're still definitely going to do, there's a lot of stuff. Very random thing that I've been meaning to do for a while is I want us to do an email client built in, like for sending email. Because like Ruby on Rails has a lot of things built in that are just really nice, really productive. And I think that is missing from the JavaScript ecosystem, not like a framework level, but from like the lower level integration level of like, okay, whenever I want to build a real production app, there's a lot of stuff that I have to think about, a lot of micro decisions that are not actually important to shipping the code, but you have to make them. just to do anything.
Yeah.
So like that's how do I send email? That's how do I do background jobs like queues? How do I like connect to the database? That's why we have Bun.SQL. There's like I need a key value store for or like ephemeral storage. That's Redis.
Yeah.
How do I do front end apps? So that's Bun.build. So there's a lot there still that we haven't done yet, and that we very much want to do. But there's also this trade-off of like we add more features and then we have more stuff to maintain. We have
cost of ownership.
Yeah. So that's also why I'm not exactly sure, because I think basically we need to fix the node compatibility. Need to just get that done. Then we need to spend a bunch of time on getting the issue count down, fixing all the bugs that people are running into. And we are doing that simultaneously with the node tests.
You have to.
Yeah. But right now the focus is more on the node tests, and I think we probably need to focus a little bit more on the issues.
Yeah. I feel like it's a balancing act, right? You have existing users, those have existing issues, plus you want to have that width and work towards that goal that you have. I love how focused and goal-oriented you are, I must say. Like it must be really cool working in a team like that with regards to screens actually displaying what you're working towards. It's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're hiring. You can go to our careers page, bun.sh/careers.
Are you hiring remotely as well?
We're hiring in person.
Gotcha. Yeah. I was going to ask, because a lot of questions I get personally is like, okay, I want to move to either US or to Europe. How do I make myself stand out? Why would companies hire me if I'm from abroad or if I'm from a different environment? What makes candidates stand out for you?
Really cool projects that are relevant and demonstrate like good system engineering skills. So one thing that's unusual about Bun a bit is that we write almost everything in Zig.
Yeah.
Basically, nobody knows Zig. It's a very obscure language. It's a good language, but and it's a new language. But so like people don't have to know Zig to work at Bun. I think only like 3 people already knew Zig before they started. But pretty much everybody is pretty familiar with either C, C++, or Rust. So some systems level language where you have to really care about how resources are being used and how they're being cleaned up. And also caring about performance and about how things work and about, from a systems perspective, like what is the right way to implement this.
Yeah. I feel like the engineers that can do C, C++, or Rust and do that well, they can do a lot of other languages quite well as well, because it's such a lower level. You do a lot of memory management. If you're a good engineer in those languages, it's like a really good segue to other languages we like to play around with. Zig being one of them as well.
Yeah, especially Zig, because the thinking that those requires basically the same.
I'm wondering, because I haven't actually spoken to a person that uses a language that's like a little bit less established. I think Zig, I can label one like that. How's the tooling with regards to AI support, code generation, and stuff like that? Does it still stand tall?
It works pretty well with Cloud Code.
Yeah.
Most of the things that they get stuck on, like Cloud Code gets stuck on, is like things that humans initially get stuck on who don't know the language super well.
Okay.
So like, for example,
Yeah.
Like for example, in Zig, bracket for or not bracket, but like a straight line, vertical bar, it's the word or. And then the AI will always mess that up.
Yeah.
And like, it's fine.
You'll fix it.
Yeah. It's as long as it can see, as long as it knows how to run the build, it sees the error and then it fixes the error. I think the general pattern with the AI tools is that they just need to get into a really good feedback loop and then they work well. But also like probably the trickier thing for Bun's codebase right now with all the AI stuff is that we tend to have pretty large files. And then as soon as you have a file that's longer than like 1,000 lines of code or so, the AI tends to get really stupid.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, for that context of a file.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not actually that useful for us yet in a lot of cases, but also it's definitely gotten better in the last 6 months.
It will keep improving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm very optimistic about that.
Yeah, same here. I wonder, because we've taken this branch into, okay, an LLM generates code that's like interpretable for humans, Zig being like an abstraction layer over machine code, and we still interpret, right? It's a different way of working with regards to workflow. Previously, I could be artistic, I could create something that I'm proud of, but now if I want to be faster or if I'm starting something from scratch, it's easier, I can get more up and running if I generate and I'm the person that reviews. Do you feel like this trend is good for engineers or engineering? Will it make better engineers, the tooling that we have now?
I think it will. I think that if I were to make a prediction, it would be that paper-based maps versus like Google Maps. I mean, I barely remember honestly at this point, but like I was
paper-based maps. Yeah, same here.
I never really used them. But like Google Maps sort of just tells you where to go, and you don't need to quite as much rely on like in sync to figure out where things are. And I think that's probably going to be true for programming as well, where like probably the very, very specific details of like what are the variable names in this function, you probably just won't really remember. But also it means that code can be rewritten a lot.
Yeah.
And very easily. So like if the cost of rewriting code goes down, then probably we're all going to write a bunch more code, and it just will be less painful.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. Do you think those micro decisions will still lie within the user with regards to ephemeral storage, what type of database, stuff like that?
I think those are macro decisions, I would say. The like ephemeral storage, like I think the micro decisions are like, should I use like a if statement here, or should I use like an if expression, or like the kind of syntax stuff. I think maybe like some of the bigger things will be. Certainly, my workflow now has been, I like talk through designs of how we should do something, or like approaches.
System design?
Yeah. With like either Claude or with sometimes with O3. And I do try also to see how far I can get with like writing a lot of code, but generally the workflow isn't great yet. My suspicion is that it's going to just get a lot better in like 6 months.
For me, it's a tooling problem, right? It might not be the models or the AI. I think how we've incorporated it right now, I'm using it in my thinking process. I'm thinking, it generates, I have to stop thinking, I have to review something else, and it's like in my workflow, incorporated.
Yeah.
Some people take it out of that workflow and then actually say, okay, no, I'm in the driver's seat, I'm doing something, and they go outside for like knowledge or generation, and they paste that in there. But I don't know what's going to be optimal with regards to then actually being effective and creating.
What I think is really interesting is that it's parallelizable. Like coding right now is a very single-threaded activity. I'm focusing on the code I'm writing, and I can't really think about other code. Because these AI tools you can run more than one at a time, I think it'll be really interesting to see in 6 months or a year. If it also gets cheaper, then also maybe you're going to have like 100 of these things running at the same time, and then you're going to have to figure out how do I coordinate all this work. Right now, if you try to do that, it's usually going to be trash, like the output. But it also does feel like a tooling problem, like what you said. Like eventually we'll figure out how to actually make that productive. But if we can have a bunch of things writing code at the same time, I think that's really interesting.
Some people always ask me, okay, we can do X or we can do Y, and which one should we choose, right? Organizations have finite amounts of time, they have teams that work on something. The best would be to invest in both options and then see in the end which one outperforms which, and then stick to the one that's winning. That we can't do currently, but with what you're describing, if we actually can spin up multiple things that like execute at the same time, you can make these trade-offs and kind of A/B test your way also to optimal solutions. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if we'll get there though, but it would make me really excited. But it would completely kind of change the way of working from a developer stance, right? Are you then a person that creates, or are you more of an orchestrator? Do skills like coding not necessarily matter, but more system design, those macro decisions you talked about? I think so.
I've been trying all the agent, like background agent stuff recently, and it's really interesting because of the parallelism, but also it's really hard to coordinate and like actually make them produce a useful result in the end.
Yeah.
But I think it's like a lot of that is just like development environment issues.
It feels like it, right? I feel like there is potential. We just haven't figured out how to make it effective in kind of the means to an end way.
Yeah.
In what we're trying to
And I also want to make the AI tool stuff work really well with Bun. Like one feature we added somewhat recently, Bun build lets you echo the browser console logs back to the terminal. And so then it lets the agents see the console without having to do some complicated browser integration. And also we made it so that way front-end errors propagate back into your editor. So it'll show up in like the problems tab in VS Code.
Yeah.
And then like the cursor agent can see the error and then fix the error without having to like rerun your code. So I'm also generally very interested in making Bun work really well with these workflows, because if people are going to be writing a lot of code using LLMs in the future, we want people to have a very good experience with Bun.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, there's low-hanging fruit, I feel like, or there's like bigger bets, because we don't know if the tooling that is out there now is going to be what we use in the future. So if you put your efforts in there, then it might be kind of a sunken cost. I spoke to Tanner Lindsley and we talked about kind of building for AI. Yeah, StanStack Start as a framework. And he says what we focus on is on really good documentation, both for humans as well as kind of if a model would read this and interpret it, having it be very much step by step, so it can then also use kind of his predictive model to predict the right outcomes. Are you thinking about that as well when you're talking about building for AI?
Yeah, we've done a bunch of things there. For example, bun.sh/llms-full.txt has all of the docs concatenated together, as well as the guides and some recent release notes. We also have the abbreviated version of that, bun.sh/llms.txt. And then also each individual doc page has a .md. So you can do any of the doc pages, you can just add .md at the end, and you get the markdown version of the docs. And that works really well with all the LLM stuff. We also have a copy as markdown button. So that way, if you want to just copy paste it into like ChatGPT or AI Studio or whatever, then you can just do that.
Yeah.
And then we also have like a download as markdown button for the same thing.
Were those all ideas that came from the team, or is that like feedback you took from the community and incorporated it to make kind of this developer experience more easily and more accessible?
Yeah, I'm not sure actually about where the markdown ones came from, but like a bunch of us use AI stuff. But like, I'm definitely the most excited about AI on the team. I'm like, because I think it's just really cool.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think it's very exciting. It's people talk about disruptive technology. It's never been this disruptive with regards to what we can do or how many unknowns we know about the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm very excited as well, man. I have a random question of the day, which I did with every guest. It's one of these cards. Feel free to draw one. It's more about your opinion, a little bit less about Bun, but pick one and I'll read it for you. So let me take this one. How do you stay curious after years in the industry? I like it.
I don't know. I like JavaScript.
Yeah.
I always like reading about like what different people are working on and like news and Twitter, and I still just read a lot.
Yeah. Is that how you consume and like learn the most about what's new? It's all reading. Is it newsletters? Is it documentation, conferences?
It's a lot of Hacker News.
Hacker News is
and
still the
like
go-to.
Twitter, yeah.
Yeah.
And just seeing what people are talking about. Sometimes I look at the GitHub trending list just to see what projects are on there.
Interesting.
But mostly it's Hacker News and Twitter.
Yeah. So it's very much community driven then, because
Yeah.
Hacker News and Twitter are both very much community based.
Yeah.
Do you have any specific people you follow with regards to their thought patterns and content?
I mean, I follow a lot of people in like the JavaScript community. Also the Zig community as well.
I was wondering then, for people wanting to learn more about JavaScript or keeping them up to date, would you also recommend Twitter and Hacker News mainly?
Yeah. Probably Twitter over Hacker News nowadays. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. This was a blast, man. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks for having me.
Cool. Then we'll round off there.